A lot of elderly Filipinos have this somewhat false notion that if they acquire land, it basically guarantees their financial security for retirement. But I think our issue here is Filipino retirement culture prioritizes ownership over income. Now, before I go any further, I want to establish cultural context here because in the Philippines, land is seen as stability, legacy, and prestige, basically. Like, just proof that you made it. It's tangible, basically. So people emotionally cling onto that than other investments such as stocks. But my main criticism here is that land isn't automatically a retirement plan. At least raw land isn't. And obviously, retirees have needs such as food, medical bills, utilities, and just general expenses for emergencies or whatever. Those bills are something that raw land usually can't pay for unless you develop it for something meaningful like agricultural practices or renting it out for housing. Now, this is where I want to point out the development problem because most Filipinos who acquire land now don't have the capital to utilize it to the best of its potential because development needs business acumen, manpower, money basically. So the land just kind of stays there unused, and it stays unused for years, even decades. And in that time, another dude, another investor could have used it for housing or any other productive thing. But no, instead, it's gonna be a dead zone in a developing area. But guess what? Productive ownership doesn't require millions anymore. You can be a part of a dividend paying company right now and just acquire shares. You don't need to buy an entire property to start investing. With 1,000 pesos, you can buy like one or two shares of blue chip stock companies in the Philippines. And stocks are basically a fraction of productive systems that you can get right now. Now, this is what makes compounding stocks very good for retirement because the earlier you start, the stronger your compounding becomes. Now, imagine compounding throughout decades of your life, then obviously that will outweigh inactive assets because that is what retirement should focus on: consistent cash flow, not just ownership. One sad thing I want to point out is that many Filipinos have different properties and whatever, but little to no retirement income. This often makes their offspring, their children, become their retirement plan, which is just unfortunate. It's fair to acknowledge the fact that the older generations of Filipinos had less financial literacy and they weren't really informed about this, or like to the extent that our generation has been. So I guess that's what fostered this distrust on the stock market. And it's kind of valid because history has proven time and time again that markets do fail. And hey, to its credit, land does have security, it does provide housing, and it is a great way of generational inheritance if used correctly. So, my conclusion here is that the issue isn't land ownership. The issue is over reliance on illiquid assets without building income producing ones as well. Because smart retirement planning kind of needs both. There's a balance to this. Ownership alone doesn't fund retirement, cash flow does.